Hello and welcome to the daily number workout. Today is our final number 100. Congratulations, you made it to 100. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with our word form. And so we're going to say 100. And because it ends with a 0 in the ones place, it is an even number. Let's go for our factors. We know 1 times 100 is 100. We know 2 50s is 100. 3 does not go in evenly. 4 does. 4 quarters make $1, or 4 25s make 100. 5 goes in because it ends in the ones place with a 0. So 5 goes in 20 times. 6 does not go in evenly. 7 does not go in evenly. 8 does not go in evenly. 9 does not. 10 goes in 10 times. And because there's no other number between 10 and 10, we're done. So there we have it. Our factors of 100. 1 times 100, 2 times 50, 4 times 25, 5 times 20, 10 times 10. All right, so I'm gonna remove some of these so I can move that up and keep my cubes here. I've got 100 cubes here. This is actually 100. It's a 10 by 10. All right, so let me make sure we're still in view here. Boom. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna move this over here, try to keep it on, is our multiples. And it's too easy. We don't have to do much to do our multiples. So 100 is 100. 200s is 200. 300s, 3 times 100 is 300. 4 times 100, of course, is 400. 5 times 100 is 500. 6 times 100 is 600. 7 times 100 is 700. 8 times 100 is 800. 9 times 100 is 900, and 10 times 100 is 1000, or 1000. Ooh, that's counting by hundreds. All right, let's move on to our next section. We didn't have to do any of that fancy multiplying. We already had that done, so that's awesome. So we're going to go on with our partial numbers. And today is going to be very interesting with 100. So lining that up, let me move that down a little bit. I'm going to take some of this off so we can move the paper up so you can see clearly. All right. So our fraction today would be 100 out of 100. So any fraction that has the same number on the top as it does on the bottom is one whole. So if we have 100 out of 100, we have the whole thing. All right, our decimal for that would be 1 and 0 hundredths, if we're going to lay it out like that, since we've been doing hundredths. And our percent would be 100%. So that means we got it all right. And our ratio would be 100 to 100, or 100 colon 100. Interesting, right? All right, let's move on. So let's write this in word form. 100 hundredths. And up here would be 1 and 0 hundredths. We wrote it in money form. It would be $1 and 0 cents.
Yee doggies.
Good old 100. All right, let's move on to our next category, which is area and perimeter. Remember, area equals width times length, and perimeter equals width plus length plus width plus length. Now, if I laid all of these cubes out in one row, it would be 100 times 1, which equals 100 square units. And then I would go around the perimeter, and one side, the width would be 100. Then the length would be 1. Then the other side that's opposite of the 100, of course, would be the same because it's a rectangle plus the 1. So this would be 202 units. Our other one would be 50 by 2. So if I take this and put all, and it won't fit on the screen, but I just have 2 rows and they're 50 cubes long. 2 rows, 50 cubes long would be 100 square units. So that means one side would be 50. And as I'm walking around the rectangle, the next side would be 2, then the next side would be 50, and the next side would be 2. So this would be 104 units if we add that up. All right, we're going to go to the next one, which is 25 by 4. So it's 25 wide by 4 deep. Again, 100 square units, the same amount of cubes. And let me see if I can break this down like that. I don't know if I can, so I'm going to try it because we're starting to get to the point where we can see it on paper and be able to. Here we are. Wait a second, 4 by 25. Oh, there we go. All right, there we have it. So this is 25 long by 4 deep. So you can see that on the screen, hopefully. These are 100 cubes, so we can see them. So we're going to do 25 for that side right here, then 4 plus this side 25 plus this side 4. Well, we know 25 plus 25 is 50 cents, plus these 2 is 8, so 58 units. All right, we're going to go to 5. So I'm going to take some of these out to make my 5. So here we go. Now, try to keep it all in line here. See how as we go smaller numbers, we start making it more rectangular. It gets shorter. So the next one would be a 20 by 5. So I'm using the same 100 cubes and made it a 20 across by 5. And so my perimeter would be 20 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side, plus 20 on that side, plus 5 on that side. And so we look at 20 plus 20 is 40, plus that 10 is 50 units. Nice. All right, last but not least, we have 10 by 10 equals 100 square units. So we break that down. Let's see if I can do it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yep. All right. Now you can see that it is 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. Equals 40. And we're done with our area and our perimeter. This was flat and not 3-dimensional. So let's go to our first one, our volume 100 by 1 by 1. So 3-dimensional is cubic units. Oops. 100 cubic units. Okay. So this is not that this is not representing that because I can't get it all on the screen. So we're just going to leave this one go, but we're going to just do all the different ways that you can do it. So it's a 1 by 100 by 1. We're just going to change up all the possibilities. And again, 100 cubic units. And we can do a 1 by 1 by 100. And that's all the ways we can do the two different numbers. So width times depth times height. I'll write that up there. Width times depth times height equals volume. All right, let's go on to the next one, which would be 2. So we're going to say a 50 by 2 by 1. So if I took all of these cubes, it wouldn't fit on the screen. So I'm not going to do it today, but it's a 50 by 2 by 1 is what we're going to do in the next one, which is 100. So 50 times 2 is 100 times 1 is 100. All right. The next way to do that with the 50 first is to flip flop these two. So it would be 50 wide by 1 deep by 2 tall. Then we're going to do 2 wide by 50 deep by 1 tall. Check them off as we go. 2 wide by 1 deep by 50 tall. So all you're doing is going like this as we get to the ones you've done. And last but not least in this one, which has got to be 6 of them, 1 by 50, 1 wide by 50 deep by 2 tall, and 1 wide by 2 deep by 50 tall. And we're done with that. Should be 6 of them. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is, in which I can break it down so you can see it like I did before. Here it is. I don't know if I'm going to be able to manipulate it to show all the different perspectives, but at least we can see what we're doing here. All right, so there we have the next category. So let me make sure I don't take it off the screen, but I get enough paper underneath it. Okay, so here we are. Volume. So we're going to do 25 across, which that is 25 across by 4 deep by 1 tall. And that equals 100 cubic units. Then we can stand it up. Oh, can I stand it up? There we go. I'm going to stand it up now. Oh, there we go. Still working with my 100 here, so you can see it. So this is 25 across. Now it's just 1 deep. You can see it from the top, 1 deep by 4 tall. Cubic units. How about that? All right, now we're going to go on to 4 being in the front. So let's go ahead and turn it. Let's see, we're going to turn it like so and lay it down. All right, hopefully you can still see everything, almost everything. So we're going to say this is 4 wide, 4 across by 25 deep by just 1 tall. Okay, now we're going to stand it all the way up. So this is impossible, but that would be standing it all the way up. So I'm going to just take a few of them and stand it up, and we're going to pretend. Can you pretend with me that this is 4 across by 1 deep? So you see how deep that is, 1 deep here by 25 tall, and we could do 25 tall. And then last but not least, we're going to do 1 wide by 4 deep by 25 tall. And then we're going to lay it down. And now I'm going to add the rest of it just so hopefully you can see it. Okay, here we go. Now it is 1 wide by 25 deep by 4 tall. Everybody see that? Almost see it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Here we go. Little angle here. 100 cubic units. Oh my. Okay. Let's lay that down, and I'm going to start changing it up again because we want 5 rows of 20. So we just got to work it out here. 5 rows of 20. So there we have it. I'm going to pull down my paper here a second. There it is. That's it. So this one we have 20 across, 5 deep by 1 tall, again equals 100 cubic units. And then we'll do the 20 again and just flip flop these. So that would be 1 deep. So if I would stand this up, let's see if I can do it. Stand it up, stand it up. So standing it up, I have 25 wide by 1 deep by 5 tall equals 100 cubic units. Then we're going to do 5 across. So that would be laying it down. And here we go. 5 across by 20 deep by 1 tall. And then last but not least, we would stand them all on end like so. And it would be 5 across by 1 deep by 20 tall. So you have that visualization. All right. Then we have 1 wide by 5 deep by 20 tall. And then we have, pretend that that is 1 wide here by 20 deep by 5 tall. And hopefully you have those all written down, looking good. We got 6 there. Let's move on to our last but not least. And that would be the one and only a 10 by 10. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. There it is. Good old 10 by 10. So we have 10 by 10 by 1 cubic units. We have a 10 by 1 by 10. I'm just changing it up in all the different ways we can do it. Or we have a 1 by 10 by 10. And since there's only 2 numbers, even though we have 10 twice, for 2 different types of numbers, then we only have 3. All right. Good old 100. Congratulations. You have made it to the final number of the daily number workout. I hope it's helped you throughout the year. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your year. Bye-bye.